GM, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back, all my friends and everybody at the Macroverse. Um, what do we do? Another week has gone by. It seems like it's only been a few days. So this is my favorite time of the week. I absolutely love coming on here and chatting and getting to tell everybody about what's happening around the Macroverse. And maybe this week we'll have kids popping in. Maybe we won't. We'll see. I can hear them laughing in the back at the perfect time. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what's on the agenda tonight. I think we've got some good things, and I'm hoping for some alpha. But I do know one thing is we've got an update that happened today, and I wasn't able to catch up with all of that before the stream. So I think this is the best time to bring on Eben and Eben Matthews. Uh, I would love to talk about some updates. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing very good. We're it's gonna sound like we're just stringing this out over a number of weeks, but we are still working on some things that we can't announce yet. Seem very exciting. But by the way, I am Evan Matthews, co-founder, CEO at Macroverse, Tiny Universe, or as you'll see in the name of the screen, Tiny Valor. If you pop into Discord right now, ask about that because it's amazing.
Or I don't mind doxing myself. I mean, Scott Pierpont. Eventually, one of these days, I think I'll maybe put my real name for writing, but I still right now like Tiny Universe is fitting for me.
It's fitting, and it's hard. Once you get to know someone, it's one thing about this space and the internet in general. Like once you get to know somebody by their pseudonym, it's actually harder to switch gears to think about like your real name. So,
I think it's funny because I feel like in real life, IRL, if I was at work and someone called me Tiny or something, like I probably wouldn't answer. And then again, if I was in Discord and someone said, "Hey Scott" or something, like I probably wouldn't even think twice about it being me. Like absolutely not.
Yeah,
it's just funny. Like I probably wouldn't even answer to it.
That is funny. So yeah, I think this is we're first of all coming in an hour early today. I had a conflict with some school stuff with kids, so thank you for jumping in here early. And other than the things that we've been working on for the past, well, actually, kind of the past 6 to 8 months that are getting like right up to the wire of being able to talk about. I feel like I'm building it up too big. It's nothing. But I will be excited to be able to share that. So in the meantime, there's been some fun stuff that I can't show yet, but I can say like we've been getting in pages for the Quirkies comic that we're working on, and that stuff looks amazing. We'll have some updates there we can share. We know that some stuff with the Wanderers comic series is moving forward. So both the anthology side and the main series will have some stuff there that we can share soon. We had another story session in the Macroverse Discord this week, diving into updated stories. So if you don't know what we're talking about there, we did a much deeper dive on that last week. So just go find the stream and catch up, or even better, come into the Macroverse Discord and we'll catch you up. But if you've ever wanted to tell stories, create stories, generate, things that could be turned into comics and other media, we are your place to do that. Bunch of exciting stuff happening on Drip House this week as well. So if you're not subscribed to Macroverse or the DMC channel on Drip House, definitely do that. We've actually got some more Drip House stuff coming over the next weeks.
I don't know if you saw it, but I did squeeze out a legendary.
Yes.
on the Dead Town. And I'm extremely excited about that one because I've been a little bit drip poor. And I haven't, I finally went on and actually purchased some, and it's been a while since I've done that. And I think I went down to like $10 or something, but man, between the few artists that I send out things to, I came out with like a really good week.
That's good.
And it was definitely super nice. But I had to post that one up on Twitter because.
Well, I'm excited for all of us, and sad for your droplet purse at the moment. That we will have more stuff coming up on Drip House over the next weeks, including, and this is the one thing I will take a moment to promote. So we've been working with DMC of Run DMC fame, working on a whole story universe with him at the center of it, and launching on Drip House is actually how we're kind of building up to more of the stuff that we've been working on behind the scenes around that. Incredible. I mean, we've just lucked out with it speaks to the caliber of talent that's on the platform, but the number of amazing collaborators that we've had building out these drops have just really been mind-blowing and so much fun. It's one of the things that I absolutely love is working with other artists and creators and helping to kind of provide a little bit of context, maybe a point of view, a little bit of art direction here and there, but then just kind of letting them do what they do. And this is a bunch that's just been a dream to work with. So today's drop on the DMC channels with an artist who goes by Crack the Toy, or No Face No Case. He's a very kind of graffiti inspired style. These really cool kind of characters of DMC that kind of look like trading cards. And then we've got a ultimate auction, which will come later this week, which is a comic cover style illustration. It just looks so cool. So shout out to him and everybody else that we've had a chance to work with. Got a bunch more drops coming up. And Daryl DMC is actually going to celebrate his birthday with us on a Twitter space hosted by me and Macroverse and hosted on the Drip channel on May 31st. So that's, we'll be tweeting a lot about that, but, Drip put out the announcement a few days ago. And we've got a really cool Drip collectible for anybody that joins live. So we'll have a bonus, maybe the first time this has happened, we'll have a bonus piece for that week's drop for anybody that comes to Daryl's birthday party. So, come
How cool is that?
And meet a legend in the world of hip hop and get a cool collectible for your time and coming to hang out. So he's excited about it. We're excited about it. It's going to be really awesome. So a bunch of great stuff, coming down the pipe there as well. But since we dropped episode 1 of Dead Town on Drip House this past week, and of course, if you're already in our community or ecosystem, you probably know a little bit about Dead Town. It's in one of our launch titles for Epics. It was the thing we actually built our mobile app around. We spent a lot of, Dead Town continues to be kind of the thing we turn to when we need to figure stuff out, because we just have used that as the testing ground for figuring out what a tap story is, building the first version of the app, now having it take its place, as a release on Drip House, all feels very natural. And in another series of firsts, something that I've been working on for a while and haven't really talked about other than little hints here and there is some additional kind of AI powered tools for facilitating some of the storytelling work that we do and giving people more things to play with in these different worlds. So, I dropped this in the Discord earlier today. I would consider this very much a beta. So this is not yet an official announcement. But if anybody wants to play with it, we've got it in its kind of, basic GPT, custom GPT form. Where you can, connect to it within OpenAI, within ChatGPT, and it's been tailored to understand Dead Town, to be able to help walk people through telling stories in Dead Town. You can even drop in the link to your specific Zed character from OpenSea, and it will recognize all the metadata and kind of help to figure out kind of what some of those traits might be in the context of the story. So this is just the beginning of what we're doing here. We've also got one built out for Vogu, or the beginnings of that. Each of the projects and worlds will get their own, sandboxes to play in this way, and then we'll have some ways of tying those together as well. But one of the fun byproducts of that, which I hadn't initially planned on, but just kind of fell into in playing with this, is that not only can this help you craft a story from scratch, but it can also play games with you set in this world. And so as someone that grew up in the early days of computer games, playing things like Zork and text-based adventure games, we're going to invite Tiny for the first time, having never played with this before, to go on a little Dead Town text-based adventure game. And in the new things that OpenAI can do, it does a really good job of using voice as an input. So I'm going to invite the Dead Town bot to join us here in the chat. It's called Deadtown Storycraft. It is not published at this point to the GPT store. So don't go looking for it there, but there is a link to play with this if you're in our Discord. So here we're going to just start a new voice chat. Oops, that's voice input. Sorry about that. We're going to go into voice mode, and then we're going to prompt it. Hello there. How are you, Deadtown Storybot?
Hello there. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How can I assist you with your Deadtown story crafting today?
Well, I'm going to turn this over to my friend Tiny Universe, who I'm here with at the moment. But let's take him on a choose your own adventure game where it's set in the world of Deadtown. Tell him who he is as a character in this world. Give him an objective that he needs to accomplish over the course of a relatively short game. Make sure that it is possible for him to die over the course of the adventure. And then let's see how he does.
That sounds like a fantastic idea. Let's set the stage for your adventure. Tiny Universe. Character introduction. You are Alex Rook, a resourceful scavenger living in Deadtown. With the plague wiping out most of the city, you've learned to survive by your wits and agility. Equipped with a trusty knife, a few makeshift weapons, and a keen sense for danger, you navigate the perilous streets, always on the lookout for supplies, and avoiding the ever-present threat of zombies. Objective. Your goal is to retrieve a crucial medical supply from an abandoned hospital in the heart of Deadtown. This supply could potentially save many lives in your community, but the journey will be treacherous, with zombies, hostile militia, and other dangers lurking at every corner. Starting point. You are at your safe house, a fortified apartment on the second floor of a crumbling building. You've just received word from May, the Madam of Pandemonium, that the medical supply is in the hospital, but you need to move quickly before others get there. Choose your path. 1. Exit the safe house. A. Head out the front door and move through the main streets, which are more dangerous but quicker. Climb out the window and use the rooftops to avoid the zombies on the streets below. What's your first move, Alex?
I definitely want to run out the door. I don't want to go on the roof.
All right, Alex, you decide to take your chances with the main streets. You carefully exit your safe house and make your way down the stairs to the front door. The streets are eerily quiet, but you know that danger is never far away. As you step out into the open, you see a small group of zombies shuffling down the street towards you. You have to move fast and decide how to handle the situation. Choose your action. 1. Confront the zombies. A. Draw your knife and try to take them out quietly one by one. Use a distraction like throwing a rock to lure them away and then slip past. 2. Avoid the zombies. C. Duck into a nearby alley and try to find an alternate route to the hospital. D. Climb up onto a nearby car and try to leap over the fence into the next block. What will you do, Alex?
I think that I'm going to jump on a car and leap a fence.
Great choice, Alex. You spot a nearby car and make a quick dash for it. With a swift leap, you land on the hood of the car and then propel yourself over the fence into the next block. You land safely on the other side, but the noise has drawn the attention of more zombies. You need to keep moving. You notice a narrow alley to your left that seems relatively clear and a rundown shop to your right that might have useful supplies. Choose your action. 1. Head down the alley. A. Move quickly and quietly down the alley, hoping to avoid further encounters. Set a trap behind you to slow down any zombies that might follow. 2. Enter the shop. C. Search the shop for any useful supplies, risking a delay but potentially gaining valuable resources. D. Barricade the shop door to create a temporary safe spot and assess your situation. What's your next move, Alex?
I think C. I want to search this, go in the store and search it.
You decide to take the risk and
Oh no.
find some canned food. Just as you're about to leave, you hear a faint shuffling sound from the back of the shop. It could be a zombie or another scavenger. Choose your action. 1. Investigate the noise. A. Approach the source of the noise cautiously, ready to defend yourself if necessary. Use a distraction, like throwing a can, to lure whatever it is out into the open. 2. Avoid the noise. C. Leave the shop quickly and quietly, taking your newfound supplies with you. Barricade yourself in a small back room to hide and wait until it's safe to move. What's your next move, Alex?
My next move is to make a distraction by throwing an object.
You decide to create a distraction. You pick up a can from the shelf and throw it towards the back of the shop, aiming to lure out whatever is making the noise. The can clatters loudly as it hits the floor and rolls into the darkness. For a moment, everything is silent. Then you hear the unmistakable groan of a zombie, followed by shuffling footsteps moving towards the noise. With the zombie distracted, you seize the opportunity to slip out of the shop, carrying your newly acquired supplies. You make your way back onto the street, heading towards the hospital. As you approach the hospital, you see the main entrance is heavily guarded by zombies. However, you notice a side entrance that seems less crowded, but potentially more dangerous because it's less visible. Choose your action. 1. Main entrance. A. Try to sneak past the zombies at the main entrance, relying on stealth and speed. B. Create a loud distraction away from the entrance to draw the zombies away. 2. Side entrance. C. Approach the side entrance cautiously, prepared for the unexpected. D. Find a way to climb up to a higher floor and enter through a window. What's your next move, Alex?
I think I want to make another distraction at the main entrance.
You decide to create another distraction to clear the main entrance. You find a piece of rubble and throw it with all your might toward a nearby car. The car's alarm goes off, creating a loud noise that draws the attention of the zombies. The zombies shuffle towards the car, leaving the main entrance momentarily unguarded. You take this chance and dash towards the entrance, slipping inside the hospital. The interior of the hospital is dark and eerie, with debris scattered everywhere. You know the medical supplies you need are likely in the pharmacy on the second floor. Choose your action. 1. Stairs. A. Take the stairs directly to the second floor, moving quickly but cautiously. B. Set a trap on the stairs behind you to prevent any zombies from following. 2. Elevator. C. Use the old service elevator, hoping it still works to avoid any encounters on the stairs. D. Search the ground floor for any additional useful supplies before heading up. What's your next move, Alex?
A. Use the stairs.
You decide to take the stairs. Moving quickly but cautiously, you make your way up to the second floor, careful not to make too much noise. Each step creaks slightly, but you manage to reach the top without incident. The second floor is dimly lit and filled with shadows. You navigate through the maze of hallways, following signs towards the pharmacy. As you approach, you hear a faint growling sound nearby. It seems like there are zombies close, but you can't see them yet. Choose your action. 1. Enter the pharmacy. A. Slip inside the pharmacy quickly and quietly, closing the door behind you. B. Barricade the door after entering to give yourself some time to search. 2. Investigate the noise. C. Try to locate the source of the growling to see if you can clear the area. D. Set another distraction to draw the zombies away from the pharmacy. What's your next move, Alex?
I think C. I think I want to investigate.
Thinking.
You decide to investigate the source of the growling. You move cautiously down the hallway, following the sound. As you turn a corner, you see a small cluster of zombies huddled in what appears to be a break room. They haven't noticed you yet, but they're dangerously close to the pharmacy. You need to decide how to handle this situation to ensure you can safely get the medical supplies. Choose your action. 1. Confront the zombies. A. Attempt to take them out quietly, one by one with your knife. B. Use a nearby fire extinguisher to create a loud noise and disorient them before attacking. 2. Avoid the zombies. C. Create a distraction by throwing an object to lure them further down the hallway. Sneak back to the pharmacy while they're distracted and hope they don't notice you. What's your next move, Alex?
Definitely a fire extinguisher.
You grab a nearby fire extinguisher and, with a deep breath, you pull the pin and aim it at the cluster of zombies. With a loud hissing noise, you release the extinguisher's contents, creating a cloud of white foam and a loud clattering sound. The zombies are momentarily disoriented, stumbling around in the confusion. You use the chance to rush forward, striking them down with your knife while they are distracted. One by one, you manage to take them out before they can recover. With the immediate threat neutralized, you make your way back to the pharmacy. You slip inside, quickly closing the door behind you. The pharmacy is relatively intact, with shelves of supplies still in place. Choose your action. 1. Search the pharmacy. A. Start searching the shelves for the specific medical supplies you need. B. Barricade the door first to ensure you have time to search without interruptions. 2. Communicate. C. Use the pharmacy's phone or any communication device to try and contact May or anyone else for assistance. D. Leave a note indicating your presence in case anyone finds it. What's your next move, Alex?
A.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat or clarify your next move?
Absolutely. I think A, searching the shelves.
You decide to start searching the shelves for the specific medical supplies you need. Moving quickly, you scan each shelf, looking for anything that matches the description May gave you. After a few tense moments, you find a box labeled with the correct medical supplies. Just as you grab the box, you hear a faint noise from the hallway. It sounds like more zombies might be approaching. You need to get out of the hospital quickly. Choose your action. 1. Escape via stairs. A. Retrace your steps and head back down the stairs to exit the hospital. And signal for help or find a safer way down. What's your next move, Alex?
Can you repeat those?
Of course. Here are your options again. 1. Escape via stairs. A. Retrace your steps and head back down the stairs to exit the hospital the way you came in. Set a trap on the stairs behind you to slow down any pursuing zombies. 2. Find another exit. C. Look for another way out, possibly through a window or a different exit to avoid the zombies. Try to find a way to the roof and signal for help or find a safer way down. What's your next move, Alex?
Look for another way out through a window.
You decide to find another way out, preferably through a window to avoid the approaching zombies. You quickly scan the room and find a window that looks like it can be opened. You approach it and, with some effort, manage to pry it open. Looking out, you see a fire escape just a few feet below the window. Carefully, you climb out and lower yourself onto the fire escape. The structure creaks slightly under your weight, but it holds. You begin making your way down, moving as quietly as possible. As you reach the ground, you notice that the noise from the fire escape has attracted a few zombies. You need to make a decision on how to handle them and make your way back to your safe house with the medical supplies. Choose your action. 1. Confront the zombies. A. Use your knife to quietly take them out one by one. B. Create a distraction by throwing a nearby object to lure them away from your path. 2. Avoid the zombies. C. Try to move stealthily around them, using the shadows and cover to stay out of sight. D. Make a run for it, relying on your speed to outpace them and get back to your safe house. What's your next move, Alex?
I think I want to run for it.
You decide to make a run for it. Gripping the box of medical supplies tightly, you take a deep breath and sprint away from the hospital. The zombies notice you and start to give chase, but your speed and agility give you a significant advantage. You weave through the streets, dodging obstacles and using your knowledge of Deadtown's layout to take the quickest route back to your safe house. The sounds of the zombies fade as you put more distance between you and them. Finally, you reach your safe house and quickly slip inside, bolting the door behind you. You take a moment to catch your breath, realizing that you've successfully retrieved the crucial medical supplies. Congratulations, Alex. You've completed your mission and made it back safely. The supplies you brought back will surely make a difference for many in your community. Well done.
Well done.
Can you give Tiny 1 to 100 experience points based on his performance in this game?
Based on Tiny's performance in the game, including quick thinking, effective use of distractions, and successfully completing the mission while avoiding unnecessary risks, I would award him 85 experience points out of 100. Excellent job, Tiny. You navigated the dangers of Dead Town with skill and determination.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
You're welcome. If you ever want to embark on another adventure or need help with anything else, feel free to reach out. Enjoy your day in Dead Town.
Pretty cool, right?
That's awesome.
So, there's a lot to fine tune, but it's pretty impressive for a definite kind of alpha version V1 of, I think, what we're going to be able to do with this. I'll show you one other quick thing, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go over to, you won't be able to see this, but I'm just going to go over to OpenSea for a second. And if we type in Dead Town Zeds, we'll find the collection there. So I'm going to grab a kind of random zombie out of here. This is going to be, let's see, this is number 114. So I'm going to take the address of that OpenSea page, go back to our Dead Town Storycraft GPT, and then I'm going to say, tell us a quick backstory idea for this Zed, and pop in that link. Oops. And that should work. Hold on. I don't know why the link didn't work. In the wrong place. Hold on a second. Make sure I'm actually copying the link right here. Interesting. It's not bringing in the URL properly. So this is what happens when we do demos.
Live demos.
Let's see. There probably is something. Also, I just downloaded the Mac app so that we could do voice. And it thinks I'm trying to upload a file instead of copy a URL. So let me try it this way instead. Yeah, I don't want to upload a file. I want to just type in this URL. What's the problem? All right, thanks for hanging on the stream for a second here, Tiny. What was that like for you? So give us as a kind of first time user, give us a critique and or any comments.
I mean, it shows my age, but I remember growing up reading. Well, and also having read to me the Choose Your Adventure books.
Yeah.
And those were some of my absolute favorites, and the Hardy Boys. And, like some of those were handed down to me from my dad. And it takes me back to that same kind of feeling. It's exciting, and it gives me, almost like that childhood nostalgia. I mean, it's super fun. Mm-hmm. And I can definitely see myself going through it and even replaying the same one and being trying to get killed or, but it's super cool, especially to hear it, give you a points and rank your playing and strategy. And I mean, just like overall, it's super cool, super cool. I think people are gonna have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, no, I think so. Like I said, like we've got a version of it for Vogu, and we're working on a version of it for GSA, and we'll have one for KIA, and kind of all the different collections that we are stewards of and or have created. So I think you'll kind of really not only be able to choose your own adventure, but choose your own world to play in. And then I will say this, like one of the things I'm excited about is, you can start to see how this could become a lot of fun to go like, oh, well, I have a Vogu, but I want to play in the world of Dead Town with this character. And so being able to kind of just mix and match in a pretty fun way. It to me, like, this kind of gets into something we talk a pretty decent amount about too, which is the ability to create things in this system that can become canonical and be expanded on into kind of the official lore. And part of what we're working on is how to recognize what's fan fiction and kind of a fun experience, like combining a Vogu with Dead Town. And then what, gets kind of brought into the model as official lore that we would then have it recognize that it can then integrate into additional stories or these kinds of adventure games and, more beyond that. So, again, I think there's just a lot of fun that we can have with this, and I'm a little annoyed that it's not going to let me do that.
Well, right. I think the soup, what for me is really cool, and I mean this, some of the people watching this could have been around for it, and some people could be new, tuning in first time and not be around for some of the older conversations. But I think like this is something that we talked about for many times about having like a choose your own adventure, or whether it have been a game or a comic style, short story with the choose your own. We talked about kind of doing this anyway.
Yeah.
Already, so it's really cool to see it come to life, even in a beta form, even if it is like, I don't want to say basic because it doesn't feel basic, but if it's just even if it's just something like this, just a regular old game you can play, I can see how that could easily evolve into so much more. So I mean, like, again, just like having the stats on the PFPs and different things that people kind of can see, like, hey, I can see where that can be utilized. I don't know how. I mean, like, same thing, like this is just, it feels like the beginning of something so much bigger.
Totally. Yeah. So I think, I actually want to show you, so I'm going to delete this. So this is back to the web version, which doesn't at this point have the vocal capacity baked into it, which is why I was trying to use the app. But if you follow the link in our Discord, you'll basically get these kind of three main options. And you can do other things in here as well, but you can get an overview of the world of Dead Town. So if you're unfamiliar with, what Dead Town is and the kind of fundamentals of the world, you just click that button and it'll give you kind of the broad strokes of, what do you need to know to understand the basics of, how zombies work in this world, who the main characters are in the comic at this point. What's the dynamics of the city and the different factions that exist here. And so it kind of gives you a breakdown of how things kind of work in this story world. So then based on that, you can, you might go, oh, this is something interesting about the way that weapons are described here, or, I'm interested in this character of Taki. I want to, create something that involves that character with my character, or, whatever kind of elements, might, strike your fancy. And then the other thing, which is fun here, is the second one is develop a story for my Zed specifically. The third one is the adventure game we just went on. But if we go to develop a story for my Zed, then if you just click that, it'll just start giving you a random story. And this is something that we're working on kind of streamlining. In fact, in the Vogu model right now, it's a little more step by step. So we'll be kind of bringing some of what we learned building that one in here. But once you're in this mode, then this is where you can essentially like paste in the OpenSea token ID or the URL to your particular character. and then say, something like, tell me about this Z. And so it'll look at that page, it'll see the metadata, tell you the metadata, and then use the actual traits in the metadata to then inform kind of whatever you do from here. So I'm going to name my Z Frank. I don't know why Frank Ocean, but we'll call him Frank Oceanside. Let's see. Based on his traits, what kind of backstories might fit? And of course, one of the things we want to kind of balance here is, things that are not completely automated with, kind of prompting the owner, the user, to come up with a lot more of this on their own. Because what we don't want this to be is just like, oh, plug in your, NFT and just do nothing. Like we wanted to prompt you to answer some questions, bring your own creativity to it, not just do all the work for you. And so, like I said, if you go into the Vogu Storycraft model, like you'll actually, it is a little bit more of that at this point. So it'll prompt you for what's your character's name, what TARS number do they drive, do you have any ideas for who your character is in the world of Vogu? What does your character want or need? So some of the more kind of fundamental storytelling things that we teach, this will feel a little more familiar to that. So the Vogu one is actually a little more advanced on the story crafting side for characters, and the Dead Town one is a little more advanced on the gameplay side of things, as we've been experimenting with all this and putting it together. So anyway, again, very much in not even beta, and we've got a bunch of ideas about how we'll integrate this into a bunch of our different tech and into our platform, and how this all plays out as we continue building things out. But I think we're far enough along where, I wanted to make these available for people to play with, and then would love any feedback, things that work, things that don't work, things that you think help the process, things that get in the way of the process. Like, really all that stuff is super valuable. So if you're interested in playing with the Vogu model or the Dead Town model, again, both of those are linked in the Macroverse Discord. You do need to have the link to get access to them at this point. And then we'll continue to iterate on them from there.
Super cool. Yeah, super cool.
So I want to use that demonstration to just make one final point, which is that I think, Tiny, this, and I appreciate your championing of this. But what people may not always realize about what we're doing at Macroverse is like we're always working on 10 things, and we don't always know which of those are going to kind of get across the finish line first. But it's not accidental. It's like all these different building blocks are, kind of intentionally being put on the table to ultimately build something that, we can kind of see the size and shape and edges of, 5 to 10 years out from now. And, the thing that I, always want to do is just invite and encourage people to come along for the ride. And I think you'll find that as we build these things out, like it's not just us wanting to build these cool things for ourselves. Like we are very much wanting to put these in the hands of users, collectors, people that are in the ecosystem that want to play, anyone that has kind of the desire to experiment with things, move the ball forward for themselves, for the community. Like, these are all intentionally, made to be things that we play with together. And build something that is greater than the sum of its parts, as a collective, as a community, as an organization. So, I'm a little sensitive because we've gotten a little bit of feedback over the past couple of days from one community in particular, which, is like, you guys aren't doing anything. And I'm like, you have no idea. We are, 24/7, 365.
I feel like I've had to bite my tongue and be like, don't say anything. They feel like my mom taught me, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I have no proof to be like, hey, you have no idea, but I know it. So many other people know it. You know, something like this is evidence. I mean, it doesn't make itself overnight by itself. You know, and again, I think this is like the coolest tool because I mean, one, you know, for people in the community that may want to do something like the writer sessions and get involved and they don't know how to start or where to start. Obviously, like we've talked about AI a million times on other episodes. Sorry if the screaming is too loud. But you know, I hope people don't use it as something to like make their story, but you know, definitely give them that surge of an idea, or you know, if they can't come up with it, because I mean, like I think it's amazing. I mean, like I love the fact that we have now the AI tools and stuff, and I think you're one of the few people I've seen take it and run extraordinarily with it. So no, I'm excited, man.
Well, I do think what you said is important because it's funny, like in my own workflow, especially on the writing side, I actually still find that the most useful part of ChatGPT is in telling me what not to do as opposed to telling me what to do. And so I find it to be actually incredibly valuable to go when I'm thinking about a story or a script, you know, going like, oh, here, you know, I'll go to ChatGPT and say, you know, here's this basic outline, this basic idea, you know, give me a plot for this. And I'll kind of see, you know, what it comes back with. And I think at this stage in the evolution of AI, you know, we know that they're trained on all existing data. And so, you know, what you're basically getting is a really good median for what's in the training, you know, data set. And so what it's not going to do is make any massive creative jumps. It's not going to really surprise you with something that you never saw coming, or even if it surprises you, it's not going to surprise the audience. And like, you know, a turn or a twist, or, you know, something that feels completely original, or, you know, dialogue, or, you know, something that feels like it's really fully from your point of view. And so I think it's a phenomenal tool as kind of a checkpoint as part of the process, but I definitely don't want it to replace the creativity and the ingenuity that we as creators bring to the table. And I think it's an incredible learning tool. And that's kind of how we've approached building the Vogu model, is having it be more about guiding the process and less about giving the answers. And so I think as we, you know, continue to kind of find that balance, I love that it's like I can have this kind of checkpoint for, you know, here's the obvious thing that you would do. Now, how do I go do something that's not that, which pushes me sometimes in a direction that's going to end up in a better place than I would have, you know, without that, you know, feedback. Yeah. And then I also love that we can, you know, say like, hey, take me on a choose your own adventure game. And even if it's kind of like 100 other choose your own adventure games that we've all been on, now we're having an interactive kind of fun experience. And that to me is just a fun toy. And so it's like being able to create a fun toy that lives in these worlds that we're all telling stories in and creating content in and building characters inside of, and, you know, letting you own those characters, like all the things that we talk about. You know, it just adds another element to it. And it also, I do think for a section of our collectors and our audience who previous to having a tool like this, you know, would never have participated, I do think it's a way to help people, you know, come in at some level. And for those people, like, hey, if you want to just have it tell the story of your character and, you know, you generate 3 stories and you pick the one you like best, awesome. Like, by all means, I'd rather have you do that than not participate at all.
So listen, and that was kind of the point I was going to make, is like, now people that are afraid to get involved, maybe because they don't know how or where to start, where it's like, when I had that issue, it was like, just write something.
Yeah.
Words of wisdom from the master. And it worked, you know, it worked. But for some people, you know, it's not going to happen. And this is like one of the coolest things. And I was going to say, even if they just take that story and use it,
yeah,
it's voted on. You never know. Like maybe people will absolutely love it. You know what I mean? Like you have no idea.
Yeah. No, it's all a balancing. It's all a balancing act. This is all like new stuff that we're all going to have to navigate as individuals, as communities, as a species. And so, I'm very much in the play with the tools, figure out what they're useful for, make them part of your workflow, as opposed to running away and pretending that they don't exist. And I know in all sides of the creative world, these are going to be challenges that we have to face, and I'd rather face them head on and try to figure out how to make them something that's valuable for everyone that is using them, and also help to try to mitigate some of the downsides. I think it's a tangent, but for my artist friends and for the amazing creators that we're with on Drip House and that are part of Macroverse, there's a lot of concern about AI replacing artists. I think production artists in particular, I think really are in quite a bit of jeopardy as far as workflows getting streamlined and replaced with these kinds of tools. And there's a part of me which thinks like some of that is unfortunately kind of the type of transition where we go from buggies and horses to automobiles. I think there have been digital tools which have streamlined, our workflows around a bunch of different things in every industry for now the past 100 years in various capacities. So I think some of that is inevitable. And so then the question becomes, if you're one of those people who's going to get affected by that, how do you mitigate that for yourself, for your family, for your own creativity? And so, I won't say who it was, but I was having a conversation with one of our artists who does an awesome series I love for Macroverse. And, he was genuinely, very worried. He's like, I've spent 10 years, developing these skills. And now what? It's like anyone can just come and type some words and, do what I do. And
Yeah.
And so, my response to this is kind of the same thing we were talking about with writing, which is two things. One is no one can replace your specific way of doing the thing. And so, the best that AI can do right now, especially, and it will continue to get better. So this is all going to be in flux, but the best it can do right now is some approximation of an amalgam of, something that may feel a little bit like your style or, sort of thing, but it's never going to be able to be in your head, bring your life experience to it, bring your emotional, capacity to it. Like there are elements that make you as a creative that, will always be there. And then number two is from a skill set perspective, there are a category of artists and creatives out there, and this is a hard pill to swallow for some people, that you are not at a level in your own skill set, in your own development, where you're not going to be one of those people that gets replaced by this technology and these types of tools. And so what you need to do is get better. And what you need to
learn more.
And learn more, and not just better drawing, better painting, better writing, but also how do you have a vision for how something is going to come together at the end of a process? What I said to somebody else I was talking about this is like, you've got to, if you're a production artist, you've got to promote yourself to art director. You got to be the person that can figure out how all the pieces fit together, because that's, again, like the vision, the ability to kind of bring all the elements of something to fruition, to, have something that's a bunch of different pieces that make a unique, cohesive, final product. Those are the things that, this tech is going to be the hardest. He's going to have the hardest time with. We look at film production, for example, there's, 100 people making a TV show or a, decent budget movie. And, you can't have, 100 different AIs at this point doing hair and makeup, lighting, cinematography, or even from the script point of view. One of the things that writers and directors have to do all day long in production is answer questions. And so even if an AI could generate a good script, what's it going to say when someone is on set and says, like, should this light be red or blue? And it doesn't have the context of all the rest of it to be able to answer that question. And so I think, again, I think some of this stuff is going to evolve where we'll get, fully AI generated movies and animation, and we'll probably love some of them. But I don't feel personally that we as a creative community have to be fearful of, the ability to continue to be relevant, make a living, sustain our own, desires and careers But I do think we have to be willing to evolve and to be nimble and to learn and grow and, all of those things. So it's a very interesting time. And, I always say it's a very interesting time to be raising children in a world that you can see changing in front of your eyes as well. So lots to unpack and all of that. But in the meantime, go have some fun with Deadtown and Vogue and let us know.
And others. Yeah, no, I'm excited. I know for a fact there's a couple people that are going to be jumping into that very soon if they haven't already from when the announcement was posted. And I most likely will be upgrading to be able to play with it more. Especially I want to see the Vogue one, and I really want to play. I mean, as much fun as the choose your adventure. Like I want to play with the story, the story writing side of it. I mean,
totally.
It's just, man, I'm really blown away. It's just super cool to see it.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. It is very fun, and glad to be able to sort of share the beginnings of this kind of addition to everything that we're working on. So, all right. Well, the reason we shifted early is we have an open house at school tonight, which we need to go to and see some amazing artwork from some amazing kids.
There you go.
And appreciate anyone who tuned in early with us this evening. Tiny, thank you for hosting as always, and for being my guinea pig in the world of Dead.
Thanks for the opportunity. That was, I'm telling you, that was. I think when you first brought it on. Right before the stream, I literally was speechless. I was I was like, this thing's voice activated, and it's talking to me.
Especially when you compare just the quality of the voice interaction to Siri or Alexa or any of the other kind of voice assistants. Every time I talk to my iPhone now, I'm like, Siri, you stupid. So it's going to be interesting how that evolves as well. But anyway, find us on Discord, discord.gg/Macroverse. A reminder that everything on the Macroverse app is free for the time being. So you've got literally 1,000 episodes of comics to tune into and consume for a limited time on iOS and Android. Subscribe to us on Drip House, subscribe to the DMC channel. And we will be back same time. Well, actually not same time, at our normal time, at our regularly scheduled broadcast time next week. So,
one of those times. At the time, it's good to see you, man. Have fun.
Thanks, Sonny. Bye-bye.
All right. Good night.